Good evening. My name is Arlene Miller, and it's my privilege to welcome you to this edition of Our Town. As we're doing this taping, it's almost May, and we're getting ready for the annual town meeting. It is May 10th this year, mark your calendar, 7 o'clock, Long Meadow High School. My guest this evening is Rebecca Townsend. She is the town's moderator. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy to be here.
Thank you for coming. I'm very excited about this interview. I was telling Rebecca before. What do you want me to call you, by the way?
Rebecca's fine.
Rebecca's fine. First of all, she's the first female town moderator we've had, so congratulations.
Thank you.
And she's extremely qualified. I think she's coming into her first annual meeting, which is a 32 article warrant meeting, challenging in itself. A diverse bunch of issues that the town is going to be deciding on. So, are you ready for the challenge?
I am. Okay. I've been scouring the warrant,
Great.
Reading everything, been meeting with the town clerk, the town council, the town manager, the staff who helped to get the room ready. I'm going to be meeting with the tellers to review their procedures, just making sure we're all set for the day.
Well, and just so that, and you need voters there. We need
yes.
a minimum amount of voters, 50.
Yes, 50.
And we hope the place has got a lot more than 50 people there, the gym at the high school, sure.
Yep.
Everybody in town should have received as an insert in the reminder, I'm going to hold this up, a copy of the warrant and the town manager's report about the warrant. It's good reading, it's important reading, because this is the meeting where three things can happen, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. We vote on the budget and the financial expenditures. This is the meeting that gets done. Bylaw amendments and changes, this is the time the town does that. Zoning bylaws, amendments and changes, this is the meeting where that is done. So it's not done in a selectmen's meeting, it's not done at a school committee meeting. This is the time when the town residents have the opportunity to steer the policy of the town. So
Exactly, it's the town's legislature.
Right.
Other towns and cities have councils, we have town meeting. And any registered voter can come and vote.
And non-registered voters can come and observe, correct?
Correct.
Period, yeah.
Correct. And sitting in the visitors section with visitors' credentials that they obtain from the clerk's office coming in. Non-voters are not permitted to speak unless they've had moderator permission well before May 10th.
See, she's
so
prepared.
far, I've had nobody ask me to speak yet, but I'll announce those people who do get permission.
So we start at 7.
Yes.
And there's generally some ceremonial stuff that goes on there.
No, it's nice.
Okay. So let me just explain some of the challenges from my perspective. So can you keep it to one night? We'll talk about this as we go along. There may be some very controversial emotional issues on the warrant. How are you going to handle that? We're going to talk about a little bit about that. And then any tricks you have up your sleeve to move the meeting along that would be useful for the residents to hear about in advance. So let's get started.
You got it.
Okay, so where should we start? Tell us about the hoopla. How much time are you allowed? Do you sort of sit back and say, you know what, I'm going to give this 5 minutes, or I'm going to give this 30 minutes?
For the ceremonial part?
Yeah. I mean, that's taking away time for the meeting.
Well, it's all part of the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the important roles town meetings have served throughout the centuries has been a community gathering spot, a place to do some commemoration of the things that the town holds valuable. So we'll have Boy Scouts bring the flags in. We'll have a student lead the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll have a veteran and former town official Jerry Nolet offer the invocation.
Oh, great. So some of your own personal touches on
this.
And
of course, we'll have the Star Spangled Banner performed by high school musicians. I'm not sure who yet, but we're getting those. So there's those aspects. There's also some town awards. As a former Citizen of the Year, you ought to know about that award. It's a wonderful award that we give to town residents who have done an exemplary job serving the town. And that's important. Having that unity, at least at the start, is important.
Sure. So that does take a good 15 or 20 minutes?
Yes, it does. It does.
Okay.
But I'm going to work with everybody to make sure it's happening regularly.
You've shared with me some rules and things.
Yep.
And And I know there are some tricks and trades and some things you're going to be doing at this town meeting that are a little different than other town meetings. I'm a town meeting geek, and I've never seen some of these things done before. So when do you, okay, so let's say we get through the ceremonial part.
Yep.
And
Get right down to business.
Yes. What do you do this stuff up front?
Yes, there's going to be a couple of really important procedural motions that are made right at the start of the meeting.
Okay. And,
I
and voted on?
Correct.
Okay.
And I've reviewed them with our town attorney, town council, and town manager, and we're going to be talking about this with the select board as well. Because the warrant has 32 articles, and because there's a special town meeting with 2 additional articles embedded within the town meeting.
Yeah, it's not going to take a while.
Well, what it means is there are 34 articles.
Oh, excellent.
So it's not just 32, it's 34.
Sure.
It's longer than most town meetings.
Right.
Because of that, and because of the significant number of citizen petition articles toward the end of the warrant, there are some things that I thought about doing that will make the meeting run more efficiently. Nobody likes to be there until 1 o'clock in the morning to do the town's business.
But is that better than having to come back?
One of the things that the town meeting can decide is whether they want to do that. My preference is to have everything done in one meeting.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that.
It is.
That would be my vote as well.
If the town would like to have another night, the town can vote to adjourn, and if we haven't finished all of the business, or at least started the last article by 10:30 at night, the motion would be to adjourn the meeting until the next night, Wednesday the 11th.
So when does that motion get made?
At the very beginning of the meeting.
Oh. So I'm not clear on this. I just want to say, so there's a motion that you've shown me on a piece of paper that suggests that.
Yes.
And
if the town approves,
if the town votes on that at 7:15 or 7:20,
correct.
Then when 10:30 hits.
Yes. If we're on Article 32 of the annual town meeting warrant, we'll just continue with that article.
What if we're on 30?
If we're on 30 and we still have 2 more to go, then we'll finish 30 and then adjourn until the next night.
Oh, man.
Motions can always be reconsidered. And so
Really?
if people want to reconsider.
Even if people have left?
Yes.
I'm just asking.
Yes.
Sometimes
motions can be reconsidered.
Okay.
So if the meeting is proceeding at a really quick pace and the meeting feels as though we can get through 31 and 32 in a snap, someone can make a motion to reconsider that other adjourning article.
Will you tell us that when you in the beginning?
Sure.
Because seriously,
Yeah.
that's because
all motions can be reconsidered.
We think we're going good, and then we get a little hiccup. Then we think we're going good, and we think. I mean, you never know.
Yeah. The meeting ultimately decides when we end.
Okay, but they're not actually deciding that at the beginning. They're kind of deciding it with the option.
They're planning for it.
Right, they're planning for it, but they could change their mind.
They could change
because
their mind.
Because you don't want people to. I can tell you, I know some people that have said we're not coming in because of babysitting until we see on TV that you're at certain articles. So if they, I mean that's an element I think we need to keep in mind. If they think it might be canceled, they might not come in, and then I mean either way they could be caught in a bad spot. And you wouldn't want that.
It's not ideal.
Yeah.
But again, it's not ideal to have 34 articles that we have to deal with, but we do. And so planning for those people who don't want to stay until 1 o'clock in the morning.
How did you pick 10:30?
It was kind of a consensus item that.
Yeah. Boy, what if somebody.
Late, but not
that late?
Horribly late. I mean, it's.
But early, really. We go off until 11:30.
We have gone till 11:30, but again, this is starting the last article.
But the last article might be 5 minutes.
Or it might be 45 minutes.
Yeah. Not with 5 and 5.
Well,
can't.
Okay, see, that's the other thing that.
You can hold that thought if you want.
We'll talk about that one in just a moment. I want to talk about the other procedural articles that are at the beginning of the meeting. So that's one. It's a potential to.
3 of those.
Right.
Okay.
There's the potential to make a motion to adjourn at 10:30 until May 11th, Wednesday.
How long are you going to
So-
let that article be discussed?
Not very long. I mean, that's not an article, it's just a motion at the very beginning.
Yep, but it has to be discussed and voted on.
Yes,
So it could be a 10-minute discussion.
it could be.
So now we're up to 34 plus 3, 37 things to vote on.
There can always be amendments.
Yes.
There can be
Yes.
40 things.
Yes.
So there's a lot of votes that can happen.
Okay, so this one, somebody
way
might
to-
say, why don't we change this to 11?
The way to, well, let me get to the strategy to
Oh.
avoid having a lot of the
Good.
delaying things.
Okay.
There are about 9 articles that are traditionally on the warrant, like Article 1, the William Goldthwait bequest. It always passes unanimously.
In about 30 seconds.
Very, very brief, but there still must be a motion, it must be seconded. Sometimes people speak to it,
Yeah.
very rarely. But there are some other articles too,
Sure.
vending machines.
Right.
What we're doing is taking these 9 articles, Articles 1, 2, 6, 13, 14, 17, 23, 24, and 25. We're going to have a handout for voters with this information on it. The motion will be to take all of them as one motion.
Right.
To move to approve all of them. I will offer a moment where if somebody would like to, say, remove 13 from what's called the consent agenda, as I read the numbers off, if a voter wants to hold that item, they simply say, hold,
And it's done. No,
and I remove it, there's no debate,
no discussion.
no discussion.
Okay, so this is not going to be a long discussion on that article.
This is not one that there will be discussion on. This
Okay.
is, you move to make this a consent agenda or you don't.
Okay.
So if somebody wants to withhold 3 of them, they just yell hold for those 3 and we'll
Okay.
return them to their natural place in the warrant.
Okay.
But if all 9 do stay in the consent agenda, we come to a vote on them and then we deal with them as one. We either approve them or we reject them.
So do you discuss each one?
No,
Don't even discuss
No.
them? So what if somebody says, well, I have a question on Article 14,
then you yell hold.
and then you take it off?
We take it off.
Oh, I mean, even
Yeah.
during the, oh,
So
that's it?
that's it.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. The idea is if there's some really simple housekeeping articles that have very minor policy implications,
It's well-intentioned.
let's
It's a time
try to
saver.
speed the meeting up
Right,
by dealing with them as one.
okay.
So the consent agenda is going to be a simple way to cut a lot of time from the meeting. There was a member of the Rules Committee who timed all of the time it took for each article to be made, motioned, seconded, and he said it was about 2 to 3 minutes per article.
Okay.
So if you have 9
Okay,
articles,
20 minutes.
that'll cut a good chunk of time out.
Yeah, as long as we don't spend a lot of time talking about it.
But we're not.
We're
I mean,
not,
it's
that's-
either you move.
But you have to
accept
explain it.
Yes, I will.
Yep, 30 seconds.
30 seconds. I'll try. So the consent agenda is one
Well,
other.
I hope this helps people, because that's what I'm saying. If
Yeah.
people get some information in advance, maybe their brains are
And anytime
warmed up
anybody
to-
has any question at all, they can contact me.
Oh, that's very generous of
Not
you.
a problem at all whatsoever.
Okay, so we've talked about the idea of the voting
right.
to shut the meeting down at a certain time. We've talked about the consent agenda, which is,
Yes.
is what it sounds like. But then there's one other one here.
The special town meeting.
Okay, so,
So moving, this would place the annual town meeting in recess
briefly,
briefly at the conclusion of Article 9.
right. And what this is in layman's terms, is this is used often
Yeah.
in town meetings, is that there's a long, arduous process that the selectmen and the finance committee and the school committee and everybody goes through to get the business of the town meeting organized and ready for print and publication. And there's a drop-dead date
Right.
when that has to happen. So that happens, and then, oh my gosh, after that, between that date, which is often 5 or 6 weeks before the town meeting, some issue comes up that's important and must be dealt with sort of in a pretty much of an emergency. This is not taken lightly,
No.
this procedure manner. And so it's called a special town meeting within the town meeting. And it's,
Right.
in my experience, it's usually been before the town meeting starts. But in this case, you've decided to embed it where in the flow of the town meeting, which is fine.
Right.
So essentially, it's going to be, let's just stop for a few minutes, let's vote on these two
Yep.
issues, and let's come back and start where
Right.
we left off.
Right.
Nothing scary about it, nothing red flaggish about it. It's a normal procedure used many, many, many times in many
And
in this-
the motion, if it's approved, will require adjourning the annual town meeting for a brief moment.
So we have to vote to do that.
We have to vote to
do that.
adjourn after the conclusion of Article 9.
Okay.
We open the special town meeting, we handle the 2 articles that are on that warrant, and then we have to dissolve the special town meeting.
Just by an easy vote.
Right.
hand-
But the technical term is dissolve.
Yeah, okay.
You can't adjourn it.
Yeah, sure.
So-
And that's why it's easier if it's in the beginning, because then you don't have to open it. It's opened. I'm opening
Well,
it.
no, you still have to open the annual.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah,
There you
yeah,
go, with a vote. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. So that should really, that procedural thing shouldn't be hard. It's just that it's the 2 articles within that may or may not be of consequence, and
Sure.
I don't think they're
And
of consequence.
you know, also at the start of the meeting, I'll just remind voters generally about what the rules are. We're going to try to keep things brief. I really would like speakers to keep things as brief as possible. Speeches really should not be very long. Typically, the budget presentation is a little bit longer.
The town manager
town
actually wanted to
manager.
eliminate it this year because of all this. I understand
yeah.
I understand, and I'll say this out loud, that it's a copacetic budget. Everybody's, the powers to be have agreed on the numbers, so everybody can relax, take a deep breath. Doesn't sound like there's going to be a big movement to amend the school budget or the town budget from any faction. I'm just telling you this, which makes it
Yeah.
a little easier, because
Yes.
sometimes we can spend 45 minutes on the
Just
budget,
on the budget, right.
and sometimes we can do it in 5 minutes,
Right.
which is amazing, $60-some million, and we can do it when people agree. They've done their homework
Yep.
behind the scenes, everything has been worked out, and that is what I'm told we're coming into at this meeting.
And the Finance Committee recommends the budget. Finance
Yeah.
Committee is advisory to town meeting.
Right.
So
And so all that's been,
Yeah, it's
so
been
that's
handled
a good-
early.
I mean, I think there's some real legitimate concern among the citizens that if they attend this meeting, are they going to be, you know, I think I'm going to ask you
Yeah.
to try to relax people in the beginning with, this doesn't have to be the longest town meeting in the history of Long Meadow. This can be a very reasonable, this business can be done. It's not
Oh,
that
yeah.
complicated, and the people who are speaking to these issues have
Yep.
done their work. So keep going on what your tricks of the trade are to keep us
Well,
moving forward.
reminding participants that to listen carefully to one another, and that when they've heard an argument being made,
You don't have to
you don't
repeat
have
it.
you don't have to repeat it.
Oops.
So you know, you can listen. Okay, if an argument has been made, then you don't have to stand up to speak. You can if you'd like to, and we're going to try. I'm hopeful this will work. Is to have 3 microphones
Explain
instead
this,
of
yeah.
just the 1 microphone that people line up at.
Right, now, so typically we have, let me
yeah.
just review, there's
Yep.
at least 1 in the center aisle.
Yep.
Sometimes 1 at either side aisle, sometimes, and then 1 at the front.
Well,
Am I
this would
wrong
be
about
the
that?
center aisle is a fairly wide aisle.
Right.
And so we're going to check to make sure that there's room to have 3 microphones next to one another. One will be a yes microphone, one will be a no
And
microphone.
labeled as such?
Yes, and one will be and I will share which ones they are.
Color-coded?
A question or motion microphone. People will line up as to whether they're in favor of the motion, they're opposed to the motion, or they have a question or some other motion to make on.
Like an amendment to the motion.
Like an amendment or a motion to call the question.
Oh, okay.
And the motion to call the question is a motion that asks the meeting whether or not we want to keep talking about this, or do we come directly to a vote?
Okay, so now I'm confused.
Yes.
So are
3
there-
mics?
No, I got the 3
Yeah,
mics.
okay. Just checking.
Okay, that's good. So there's, how many ways, or let me see if I can ask this right, how many ways are there to call the question? For instance, I just want to say I call
Yeah.
the question, what does that require?
You call the question, it's seconded, and then we come directly to a vote on whether or not to call the question.
Okay, so that's not the
It
5 and
requires a-
5.
Well, a motion to call the question is only in order
Okay.
when 5 people have spoken in favor.
That was my,
and when 5 people have spoken,
That was my
opposed.
confusion. Okay, so I can't just say, after 3 people have
Right.
spoken, I call the question.
Right.
No.
If we hear, say, 10 people in favor, nobody opposed, well, if there's nobody opposed,
You're going to call the question.
I could mention that, look, we have nobody who is willing to come forward to oppose this, and so a motion to call the question is still in order in that case.
Okay, but so
Yeah.
you sort of prompt that one.
Oh, I will make mention of that.
Yeah.
And having the 3 mics will make it easy for the voters as well as me to see when we may have reached that. I'll
Yeah.
still be listening to each person's presentation to make sure that if they're standing in the yes line, they really are saying something
Sure.
in favor.
Sure. So really, part of the challenge, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the challenge here is for you to, this being your first annual town
Mm-hmm.
meeting, really gain the confidence of the people who were there, to have them allow you to trust you to say, I'm going to make this decision, and maybe we should vote now, whatever it is you're going to say up there, or to listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, that's sort of the. It's not just. It's really gaining a rapport with the people and having them trust that you're leading them to a conclusion that's going to represent the interests of the town, but at the same time
Yeah.
be efficient to get the town meeting business done.
My job is to be fair, it's to be accurate, it's to allow the meeting to run smoothly. And if I make a judgment call on something, I will offer a very brief explanation, and that's it, and then we'll move on. If somebody doubts my call, say for example on a vote, then we can go to a hand count for that vote.
Sure.
But for the most part, I'm not there to shut people down. I'm there to make sure that the rules are followed, and those rules are very clear in our bylaws. You can't call anybody names. You can't speculate on motives. These
Yeah.
are things that if I hear somebody...
Civility is a big deal.
Oh, gosh, yes. And so if I hear that, I may gavel someone, explain what they're doing, ask them to get back in order. Otherwise, if they persist in being out of order, I will inform them that they are out of order and must sit down.
Great. This is also the first town meeting in a long that time since I can remember that Dave Martell will not be your backup.
Yeah.
Be a backup person. So there's a different town council.
Yes, Michael Schneider.
And so he'll be
Yes.
serving as that. So what's your let me ask you a question a little bit about the petition articles. Now,
Sure.
petition articles are articles brought by citizens.
Yep.
Takes 10 signatures or something. It's not a big deal to get a petition article on the warrant, and they're typically positioned at the end of the meeting. And we have 4 or 5, I don't remember the count of those. I heard, and this could be totally inaccurate, that some of these are going to be deemed out of order. Do you have any information about that?
If, and I'm waiting for the specific ruling from town council that what his opinion is with regard to each one,
Okay.
all of the articles. And if he finds that Massachusetts law supersedes this,
Or the federal law?
or the federal law, if state or the federal law supersedes the particular motion on the article, I will inform the petitioners of that prior to the meeting,
Okay.
and I will inform the meeting about what that is.
And so that will am I correct, that would automatically delete the article?
It doesn't, oddly enough.
Okay.
No.
So tell me what it does.
No.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So let's say one of the articles is deemed likely not to pass muster. All articles on the warrant, as you know, have to go to the Attorney General's office to be approved.
Okay.
So the budget as well as the citizen petition articles. And so when the Attorney General does the review of the votes at town meeting,
Which is after the town meeting.
after town meeting,
Yeah.
they will determine whether or not the action taken at town meeting was legal or not.
Okay.
They don't provide that judgment in advance.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So what the town council has to do is look at the law, look at rulings, look at what other town meetings have done, and offer his best opinion about whether or not he thinks this will be able to pass muster or not. And so if in his opinion, that Massachusetts law or federal law supersedes this, I'll inform the petitioner, and I will ask that petitioner if he or she would like to withdraw the petition.
So they could leave it on just for the sake of conversation. They could.
Yes, and it would be like a non-binding resolution.
Well, you don't know that until the final determination is known. So,
right.
Wow, that's difficult.
But so the article has to be dealt with. There has to be a motion either to withdraw the article, or to lay it on the table. However, something has to be done with the article.
Okay, so the petitioner can come up and withdraw it, or the town meeting.
And that has to be done by unanimous consent.
Okay.
So if an article's on the warrant, it has to be acted upon in some way.
All right, so those 4 could be a bottleneck, or the end of the town meeting, depending on what the outcome is. Well, it doesn't really matter what the attorney or the town council says then, because those petitioners may say, well, we want to talk about it anyway.
Right.
Okay, so that's their
Correct.
choice. So what are you most concerned about as you're preparing for this show?
I'm most concerned that we will focus on the issues and not on personality, that we will make sure that whatever we say is civil, is informed, adds to our collective understanding of these issues, and doesn't detract from who we are as a town.
Mm-hmm. Great. That's great. It's interesting, there's always a debate about, is the town meeting, when you were on the Charter Commission, the charter was, should we get rid of the town meeting? It's always the big one. East Long Meadow just did a big vote, and they got rid of their town meeting.
Yep.
And some of us, I'm not sure where you are, I know where I am on it, I've always felt that the town meeting, although it's somewhat cumbersome, it takes a while, the procedures could be somewhat complicated. At the end of the day, in my opinion, they make good decisions, and it's an opportunity for everybody to participate.
It's direct democracy.
Democracy. This is the purest,
yes.
Purest democracy. So I'm always excited about it, and this one is going to be challenging, but I'm very confident that you are up to the challenge, and I just hope the citizens are. I think that's the thing is getting a partnership right up front, if we can, all of us, buy into your rules. We don't have to all give a speech for every motion. Let some of them go quickly, and they can. And then the 5 and 5, I'm looking forward to that being, and you'll see that.
Oh yeah, no, it'll be very easy to see how many people are lined up at each microphone.
Right. Now, the other unique thing about this that I'm not necessarily a fan of is that this is televised, live. I've always been a fan of don't televise it, make them come to the meeting to see it. Just to say my own personal opinion there. But powers that be have felt that it's important to televise it. So there will be people coming in and coming out of the town meeting because of the nature of the spread, and there's really no way to guess because of what you're going to try to move this thing along. So there's really no way to guess when to come in or not to come in. But I did check with the clerk, and people may enter anytime.
They may enter
anytime they want.
Except when a vote is going on. So you can come to the high school, but if a vote is occurring.
So if the vote of the article you're interested in is occurring, it can't be in the actual motion.
It's during the vote.
Voting, not the discussion of the vote.
You can come in during discussion, yes.
Right, okay.
That's fine.
Great. So this is good. So people really should do some homework. I mean, it's so much easier if you come to town meeting, if you've read the warrant and great information about the budget, the process, and the needs of the community from different people's perspective. And is this posted?
The rules of procedure for town meeting are going to be at the back of the warrant.
In which they have been in the past.
Yes, and the consent agenda will be handed out.
As they're welcome.
I have a public Long Meadow Moderator Facebook page where I posted all of this information as well.
No doubt.
So, and I'm happy to email it to anyone.
Okay. There's a couple of articles you said you thought we should maybe talk about quickly. They've given me the 5-minute sign. But
Oh,
we don't
sure.
Have to worry
No,
about
it's just, simple things like Article 3 requires a 4/5 vote. Article 3 is whether or not to pay our bills of a prior year.
Right.
And so if Article 3 is not unanimous, we must do a hand count.
But just to let people know, Article 3 is for a bill that's, I think, of nature of $5. No, it's $1,078. For the purpose
So-
of paying a prior fiscal year bill relative to a fire department bill.
Right.
Yeah.
So if we don't vote unanimously on that,
Yeah.
we have to come to a hand count. Traditionally, it goes through, but
problem.
I just want to make sure that that's
I had a question
noted.
on,
Yeah.
on 16.
Sure.
And this is the one dealing with the council, the senior
The
center.
adult center, yep.
Yeah, and it's the existing money,
Mm-hmm.
just transferring it, but it's transferring it for a purpose, to continue the process, I'm assuming, of developing the final plan for the senior center.
Site analysis, conceptual site plan, conceptual building renderings for the development of the Turner parcel. Yes.
Right. Now, if I vote yes on that, is the message that I'm voting for the Turner parcel versus a renovation at the current site?
That I'm less sure about. It does indicate that the renderings would be for the Turner parcel.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So that
'cause
leads me to believe that if the money were spent on some other parcel, it wouldn't be possible. However, the article does include for tasks including but not limited to additional site analysis. So that leads me to think that there could be an additional site analysis performed.
Yeah, because I know the committee was looking at renovating the current site
Yeah.
or building a new structure, and there have been, to my knowledge, not a lot of conversation publicly about which of. So they're coming forward with.
And so that money could be used
Yeah.
for
So
such
maybe that's a
conversation,
question.
I imagine.
Maybe that's a question for the town meeting.
I think
guess
that would be.
so. Okay, you had some others.
It was mainly that one,
Oh, the 4/5.
Right.
There are no zoning, there's any 2/3, oh yeah, there's always a 2/3.
There's a bunch of 2/3
Yeah.
required by
The capital planning project.
Yes.
Coming in and out of a enterprise
water
fund.
mains. There's also water mains, couple of water mains.
2/3?
Yes.
Well, because of the enterprise fund?
Or
bonding.
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 Vote to authorize the treasurer to borrow the sum of $144,205 is Article 10.
Okay.
This is water mains for Sunset Lane.
Yeah,
The
but
old water main froze solid.
right, it's borrowing, but they're going to pay for it out of the reserve, out of this water and sewer retained earnings, probably. No, borrow the sum.
Related bonding
yeah.
costs
Okay.
to be paid in the first instance
2/3,
from water
2/3.
receipts.
This is nice that your 2/3 is really highlighted. Excellent.
Yes, and I
Excellent.
will inform the meeting as well whenever there is a vote that requires a 2/3,
Will you
4/5,
automatically do a hand count for 2/3?
No. No. From my experience at the special town meeting in the fall, where there were far fewer people than I anticipate at this meeting, it was very clear to see when there was a 2/3 majority. If I have any doubt,
Yeah.
and I don't have faith that my decision is going to be accurate, then I will call for one.
Right. And that really takes time.
It does. However, we're going to try a new method. This is a method that
Okay.
we were going to try in the fall if we needed to, but we didn't need to do a hand count.
Okay.
Typically, we have one clicker, one person, a teller, going around to each section with a clicker device.
Different people in each section, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
To ensure greater accuracy, however, we're going to have people paired up. 2 people will be responsible for each section. One will have the clicker, the other one will have a clipboard, and will do hash marks on a piece of paper, on a chart. They will direct people, raise your cards. They will make an independent count, and then they will check. So Arlene, if you and I count 5, you count 5, we'll say, do you have 5? Yes, 5. Then we move on. If I count 4, you count 5, we recount right away.
The row.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
And so
That's going to take that much longer, isn't it?
Not really. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got people counting at the same time.
Yeah.
It's not going to be one person counting, then the other person.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
But if there is any discrepancy, it's handled right away.
Sure.
And the accuracy of the vote is far more important than a few more seconds
Sure.
it is to make sure that
Well, that's going to be interesting.
vote's accurate.
Yeah. So now, because of the nature of some of the petition articles, do you expect crowd control or heckling or?
we have made preparations with the police department to have people on duty because there are several articles that have been getting national attention. And there are people who are announcing via social media that even though they're not Long Meadow residents, they plan to show up. Yeah. Just as a reminder, unless you've spoken with me beforehand and have a really important need to speak at that town meeting, you may not speak.
But you can make noise.
No, you may
You're
not.
Not supposed to make noise.
There's no placards, there's no heckling, there's no clapping, there's no cheering, no jeering.
Okay.
And so I will instruct the visitors as well as the regular members of the town meeting that, if I do hear that, I will ask that it stop. And so if there are people in the visitors section, for example, who are cheering, jeering, heckling in some way, I will ask that they stop. If they do not stop, then I will direct a police officer to come and remove that person from the meeting. I really hope I don't have to do that. I think that most people will recognize the sanctity of the occasion and will want to honor that.
Right. Sanctity of the occasion and the hard work that the town is trying to do at this meeting, and especially in a time-sensitive, in a responsible time.
I also think that for most people, if they have never been to a town meeting, it's really important for them to see how it works, because this is how direct democracy works. And if they want to learn about how this works and how to see how a town comes together and make some tough choices, then I really welcome them, because it educates people who are not from Long Meadow about how direct democracy works in 2016.
Right, and it works best if we have a good turnout.
Well,
I mean, it doesn't have, 50 people is what people.
We've never had a problem with quorums, though.
Yeah. Well, we've been close. Last year there was a very slim. At that, it might have been 100 people.
At the special? No, there was...
No, the annual, there was about 100 people.
The annual, it was...
It was a lot of, not many articles of confrontational articles, and people did. And that may be the case here. There may not be that much confrontational stuff here. A lot of it's procedural, a lot of it's money right up until 23, 24, 25. And once you get through community preservation, that's, you're into the... Once you get to the petition articles, it's a little bit more controversial, maybe. But I don't know that there's a lot of controversy. There's a lot of decisions to be made, but not necessarily, that one way or another is going to make or break the town so much. I don't know, but all right. Well, this has been very informative to me. Wow,
Good.
And I certainly hope people are listening to this and do listen to it and do their homework and attend the town meeting on May 10th at 7 o'clock at the high school. Well, good luck to you. I'm going to be back there waving at you, saying, "Go, Rebecca."
Thank you.
I really hope you have can enjoy it, the night. And I know you're going to be very busy and controlling hundreds of people and lots of stuff here, but the homework's been done. The stage is set, and
I'm honored that people put their faith in me to vote for me for this position. I will not let them down.
No, I'm very
And
confident.
so I'm looking forward to doing that and fulfilling my obligation.
You'll be exhausted, but it'll be fun.
That's right.
And I hope it's a one-night exhaustion, not a two-night exhaustion.
It's my preference as well.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Sure, happy to.
And thank you to our audience for watching. Good evening.